All right, so I saw on my Instagram that Lululemon is being investigated because they use toxic chemicals. And I covered this when I did a video in January about PFSAs and why they like mess up your endocrine system, they're cancer causing, and all these things. But here's some information about me. I did my undergraduate at NC State College of Textiles. And one of the things they did really well with the degree that I have, which is in product development, is that they trained us in fiber science. And this is super important because fiber science is a very difficult coursework that you have to understand the chemical components as well as the physical components of fibers, how they're woven or knitted together, what the outcomes are, and be able to predict those outcomes so that when you're thinking about garment creation or fabrication, you're thinking about the totality of it. So for us, understanding, for instance, that if you're going to make something that's baby clothing related, it had to be flame retardant. If it's flame retardant, that means it has to have a finish on it. And then that finish has to be non-toxic. And that could change the cost, the fabrics, your manufacturer, and all of those details because different countries have different regulations. They may not always disclose to you exactly what the chemicals are that they're using, but it's very important. One of the most important things about fiber science and fabrication is understanding the end use of the garment so that the person that is wearing it gets the best possible use case out of it. Now, that's the type of mindful design that we assume that is happening in the industry because of the cost associated with the garments that you're buying. But in reality, people are not training or even hiring designers that have this type of knowledge base. They're hiring people that lack kind of the skills, the knowledge base, and instead just kind of do what they're told so that they can keep churning out more of a brand than they are a product. And this is really bad because anybody who had any common sense would say, hey, if the end use for our brand is for women who work out, let's consider what they're doing and how this brand can support it. It shouldn't just be about fabric or what it looks like and price by itself, but understanding end use can help you to say, instead of using fabrics that are toxic, perhaps we should instead invest in fabrics that, are oleophilic, are sweat wicking, but also don't have finishes that are going to cause harm. Now, any real designer understands that during your fittings, you're going to see how tight the garments are, where they're being worn, the fact that they're hitting certain, what are they called? The fact that they're so close to your lymph nodes, and anybody with common sense would have said, let's make sure this fabric is not toxic. I don't know. But since that's not the case, and since it's always about money or brand or whatever it is, or cheapening the experience by having it made in factories that are going to use poor chemicals, these things often get overlooked. Now, the consequences are obvious, and if it wasn't for legislation, people would still be wearing toxic workout wear without ever knowing it and overpaying for a product that is worthless and actually takes years off your life. And this is why having a fashion education background has to be more expensive than just design, sketching, and just, like, oh, does it look good? It is a science, and we still have to understand how the scientific part relates to the end product. And so I did a video on this back in January. So if you want to look at it, definitely go do so. But thanks to legislation, I think we're going to see more and more of your favorite overpriced brands get in trouble for basically trying to kill you while taking your money.